I'm of the opinion that it's the greatest time in the world to be a writer. And that's because the walls have been torn down and now anyone can get published.
It's really important, if you're a writer, to be in a community of writers.
Being a writer, while it is a solitary art, becoming a successfully published author is not.
To have that kind of base is what James River Writer provides. It gives people a place they can go to make themselves better at what they're writing. James River Writers is really the idea that writing is not the lonely art. It's got that stereotype, and it can be.
About 11, 12 years ago, a couple of us in the city here were professional writers, and we had the idea that we couldn't be alone, that we weren't the only ones here who loved the written word, who wanted to be published.
They got them all together and they said, we're going to do this, by God. We're going to build an organization for writers in Richmond. They believed in that Field of Dreams idea. If they build it, it will come. And it did.
But it was great because we found each other in Richmond, and we had a diverse group of writers. We had poets, nonfiction, fiction, children's writers, and we realized that there was a great group of writers here in Richmond that needed a central kind of meeting point or event so that we could all support each other.
11 years later, we have brought in agents, editors, best-selling authors.
The James River Writers is always first and foremost and only about writers and writing. It's not about books selling, it's not about celebrity, it's not about patting anybody on the back. It's about taking what some people know and spreading it as far and wide as you can.
And the James River Writers has really pulled writers out of the woodwork. I think probably a lot of these people were here before, but they just didn't have a hub for connecting with each other.
Well, James River Writers does put on several events per year. One of the great things we put on is the annual conference, which brings together around 300 people.
The conference is our biggest event. We have it every year, and part of what the conference does that sets it apart from all the other events we do throughout the year is that it is basically kind of a big melding of everything we can do.
In order to get published successfully and to get people to read your book, you have to have a network of people. And this is a place, James River Writers Conference is a phenomenal place to network.
So the James River Writers Conference is essential for people who want to enter into this industry or understand where it's going, for writers who are looking to hone their craft.
There's so many genre-specific conferences out there, but we believe that you can learn from each other and we can all learn together.
You're going to get to talk to the speakers, you're going to get to ask them questions, you're going to get to sit down next to them at lunch.
It's the opportunity to let writers connect and network with each other. It's the opportunity for people to get their hands dirty and learn from the people who have succeeded within the literary arts.
You can have a one-on-one session with somebody who can actually help you get your book published.
And we hear from so many attendees and members that it's made a huge difference in their lives. There's so many books that have been published from people meeting with agents at the conference.
Personally, it's been wonderful because it has improved me as a writer. I would not be published at this point if not for my involvement with JRW.
There's just a cool vibe here. This is like a hidden treasure as far as I'm concerned, Richmond. We have such a great time when we come down here.
If you really want to be successful as a writer, you will ultimately have to meet your public. So if you're nervous about getting out and meeting people, don't be.
If you're thinking that your experiences as an aspiring writer are uniquely your own and nobody can understand you, please let me say very directly, you're wrong. Everything that you're thinking, every reluctance, every daunting image that you have of trying to be a writer and bring this out of yourself is shared in the James River Writers.
If you have any preconceived notions about what a writing organization might be or who should be a member of a writing organization or the credentials you should have, throw those out the window and come meet us.
And it seems to me that any writer within shouting distance of Richmond should make a concerted effort to join James River Writers.
I have grown as a writer, I have grown as a person, and I've made relationships that I hope to keep for the rest of my life.
Up until we got involved with James River Writers, Richmond was just a place we lived. This made it our home. I'm very passionate about it because really it did. There are people I see every month now. And we think of them as family. All the things I've accomplished, not just even as a writer, but just personally, my life is richer for the experience.